Hi, my name is Zoe, and this is my dog Miso. A year ago, I decided to move to the countryside of Japan to pursue my dream of becoming a full-time artist. Here are snippets of my day-to-day life. I hope you enjoy. Say hi to everyone, Miso. I've just finished grading my pattern and I'm definitely feeling a little bit tired today. The last few days have been a bit hectic, so I'm just going to take a minute to catch my breath before I start laying out and cutting the pattern. Just finished cutting out the pattern and Miso has decided to join me for a little cuddle here. I completely forgot how awesome those electric scissors are. I thought this was going to take me like at least 30 minutes or so, but yeah, I literally feel like I cut that out in like 5 minutes, so that's awesome. Just taking a little break at the moment, walking Miso around the neighborhood to refresh and recharge. The yellow leaves here look so beautiful, especially against the blue sky. Miso, come on, let's go. It's Saturday morning now. I just had the best sleep in of my life. I'm just starting to take Miso for her morning walk. So tea and Miso's walk is my favorite way to start the day every day. I mean, just look at that view. Isn't it incredible? So to the left of that mountain is the ocean and to the right of that mountain is the city. So I've just finished taking Miso for a walk and having a shower and getting ready and stuff. And now I am just going to make my lunch for the day. Today I am going to make like a pork daikon kind of thing. So let's go to the kitchen. Making a little snack. Holy grail from my hometown, Satsuma plum jam by Beerenberg. My absolute favorite jam in this world. The recipe is very simple. I'm literally just braising this daikon with some pork slices and onion, and I'm braising it in a bone broth, chicken bone broth that I made a few weeks ago. It's just been in the freezer. So I'm just going to put that and salt. Super simple, super nutritious, and it just makes you feel like you have a beautiful, warm hug coming from inside. A little snacky from earlier. Nothing like some good butter from New Zealand. The colour is so yellow. From all that beautiful green grass. You get the butter in Japan and it's literally white. It's quite funny. Anyway, put these back in the oven. Perfection. If there's anything I've learnt from my mother in these years, it's that there's never too much butter on anything. I'm a big butter, a little jam person. My husband is the opposite. It's quite funny. But I mean, Japan just doesn't really have a big butter culture because it's so expensive for such a tiny little amount. My little breakfast snack for today. It's gotta be crunchy and chewy. A lot of the bread here in Japan just isn't like that. Luckily there's a place near my house and they do really good bread, Western style, with no additives and bad stuff in it, so very thankful for that. Anyways, back to my little recipe here. So here is my chicken broth I made a few weeks ago. Still a bit frozen, so I'm gonna heat this up first before I put any of the ingredients in. Just gonna cut these random wedge shapes. That is pretty much all of the preparation. Super easy, you just need to cut an onion and a daikon or Chinese radish. All I'm gonna do is wait for the soup to heat up, check that there's enough salt in it, and then chuck all the veggies and pork in together, and then just slowly boil it for like, I don't know, like an hour. It basically just want the flavor to infuse through the daikon until the daikon gets quite soft. It looks like this is ready to go, so let's have a little taste test. Definitely salty enough. So I'm gonna put everything in now, starting with the meat. Let's chuck that in. Whoa! Definitely lost one back here. Hello, where are you? Now, as you can see, my ingredients are much more than the amount of liquid in here, so I will just top it up with water. Whoa, that was not on properly. Whoops. Alright, that should be good to go now. Let's get this onion skin or something. Alright, so I am just gonna stay here until this comes to a boil again, and then I will put it down to low and just let it simmer for like an hour. So the first task of today is to make the sakiori pocket. Here is one that I have previously made. Starts off like this. This is when it's fresh off the loom, and then I have just sewn it to a piece of fabric. It has been turned out. And then that is going to become my little patch pocket. I've just consulted the old Pinterest here, and I have found this colorway that I like. It is red, orange, purple and white. So I think I'm going to go with this kind of color theme for my pocket. I have this beautiful recycled cotton here. I don't know if there we go, the focus. Anyway, this is just like a plain kind of white, a little bit off-white color. So I'm going to make the warp thread out of this, and then I am going to dye some fabric scraps that I have, because I have a lot of white linen scraps from my stuff, because most of my clothes I make are out of linen or cotton. I love using natural fibers. So I'm actually going to dye some of the scraps. I'm just setting up the warp thread now. Well, setting up the apparatus to make the warp thread. Get rid of that. It goes like so. So the reed that I have on my loom, it is 5 threads to 1 centimeter. Now last time I made my pockets, I did it for 12 centimeters, but when I was weaving some of the fatter pieces of fabric through it, it kind of tended to shrink in, and they ended up at like 9 to 10 centimeters, and yeah, it was just a little bit too skinny to be a pocket. So for this project, I am just going to go a bit wider, just so it's a bit easier. I can always cut it off once I have turned it into a pocket anyway, so it's no worries. So for this time, I'm going to do 70 strands so that it turns out to be about 14 centimeters, hopefully, and then I should have a nice amount of leeway. Because I only had 3 threads to do, I actually just ended up doing it to 15 because that's a number that evenly divides by 3. So I have finished doing the first step of making the warp thread, and do you know what's so funny? I have literally been avoiding doing this all week because I just have this image in my head of how hard and annoying it's going to be to make. And like I was just doing it and it just felt so nice. I literally just felt like I was meditating and breathing there for a minute. So it's so funny, there's so many things, even the cutting of the pants last night, like there's just always those steps in a project that you just avoid doing for so long, and then you do it and you're like, wow, it wasn't even that bad, why was I avoiding doing that so much? So yeah, for me it's definitely cutting and preparing the warp thread. I love sewing the clothes because that's fast, and I love making the weaving piece because that's also fast, but anything that just requires me to slow down and take a bit more time, I tend to avoid like the plague. And then I go and do it and it's like the nicest, most relaxing thing in the world, and just feels like I can meditate and breathe for a moment. So yeah, just super funny. Why are we like that? Why do we do that as humans? So here is the completed warp thread. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's my 15 bundles. And then just because it ended when I was at the bottom, I had to come up. So I have these 3 extra strands, but it's not a problem. It's actually better if I just leave them in. It'll make it less complicated later. So I think my plan now is that I am going to finish setting this up so it's ready to pull through the reed. And then I'm going to have some lunch, and then I will continue doing the pulley thing. I've just solved all of my problems. This is the box of stuff that doesn't fit in my plastic tub of stuff. Therefore, it is separate, but this is pretty much all the missing pieces I was looking for. And just as expected, after many swear words later, that part is finally complete. Itadakimasu. Maso. Yatta. Miso has come. She's come to try her luck, see if she can get a snack, but unfortunately none for you, Missy Moon. Also, I just wanted to talk about this dish a little bit. So in wintertime, Japanese people often do this very braised daikon, sometimes with meat, sometimes not, but yeah, daikon is just so good for the colder months because in Chinese medicine it is believed to get rid of phlegm and dampness in the body. This is some kimchi that I made about 3 weeks ago, so it's finally reached its beautiful sour stage. I've been making kimchi for the last couple of years using the Mangchi recipe, so shout out to her, she is awesome and definitely recommend. But this is the first time I have made her recipe with the full 2 cups of the chili flakes, and I absolutely love it. She is definitely right. I made it to her spice level this time, so yeah, definitely recommend trying that out if you are interested in making kimchi. Let's check and see what little mischievous Miso is up to now. And she is spotted having a little nap in the sun. Hi, Miso. I've just been enjoying my rest and digest with my tea here, and I've decided that I am going to thread the rest of the loom and then just kind of chill. I've started watching the Bliss Foster mega series about Margiela lately because I wanted to just kind of like boost my own creativity. I've found that by just scrolling Pinterest and doing a lot of algorithm based stuff, yes, you can get a nice aesthetic and create something that looks cool, but it really kind of stunts you in creative thinking and developing your own ideas, whereas watching stuff from other really good designers or artists and going through their process, it really helps you to understand their thinking, so then you can also kind of start reflecting on your own and developing things that you like and don't like. I've literally only watched the first 30 or 40 minutes of the Bliss video. I'm taking it slow and steady, but already I have just noticed I made a few notes on my phone, and there were a few things that I have already been doing with my work that I reflected on a bit deeper. Now starts the very fun and slow process of getting every single one of these threads through the screen and then through to the reed. Finally, it's over. The worst part is done and out of the way now. It is just fun times ahead. And there we have it. The loom is finally ready to go. It only took me like 3 or 4 hours to do that. Though I did do it slow and steady. I'm sure I could do it a lot faster. I know I said I was going to take a break, but this room about 5 minutes ago was in such a state. I really need to get a way to store my patterns. They were all over the floor. Finally, my room is clean and free of dust. Having another little snack break now. That little bit of cleaning took it out of me, so I'm gonna call it a day now. I'm going to have my little tea and cake and then continue to watch the Bliss series of Margiela.